Hello, hello. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Cincinnati. It's another great day at Club 17. We are the 17th club out of 46,000 Rotary clubs worldwide, and our motto is service above self, and we're delighted to be in our second century of service to the great city of Cincinnati. It is a special program today. We are welcoming Superintendent Iranetta Wright and our award-winning educators for Cincinnati Public Schools Teacher Appreciation Day. Superintendent Wright, thank you so much for bringing your educators here today and your service to our city. We're most appreciative of the opportunity to honor them and looking forward to your remarks later. Why don't we begin our meeting with the America the Beautiful? Did I get that right, Mr. Stilley? Led by Bill Stilley, accompanied by Kay Atkins, followed by the four-way test and invocation by Andy Zahn. Take it away.
Please join me in prayer. As we gather here today, we are reminded of the importance of education in our lives and in our communities. Education is a foundation upon which we build our future, and it is through education that we can create a better world for ourselves and for future generations. Today, we come together to celebrate the power of education and to reflect on the ways in which we can support and promote learning in our communities. Let us be grateful for the opportunities we have had to learn and grow, and let us commit ourselves to helping others do the same. May this meeting be a time of inspiration, learning, and fellowship, and may we leave here today with renewed energy and commitment to the cause of education. Amen. Now let us repeat the things we think, say, or do as Rotarians. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
You may be seated. Now to welcome our guests and prospective members, President nominee Eric Petway.
All right, I'm doing double duty today. First guest and then the survey update. I'm very pleased to announce that we have two guests for today's meeting. The first is Kendra Shore with KGS Environmental, a guest of Dan Long, if he can be recognized. And our second guest is Christy Williams from Christie Collections, a guest of Naumani, Israel. Switch over to the survey. Oh, I thought we were going to do it. Okay.
You can ask Christy.
Christy.
We're going to do a presentation with the... That's okay.
All right, so before we show the slides, I have good news. Before we get to the good news, I want to thank the survey committee, starting with Wes Botto, who was really the lead. Thanks, Wes, and also thanks to Jeff Weir, for putting this together. And then, of course, we have to thank President Steve and the board for kicking this off and also supporting this effort. This is an effort that we try to do annually, and we get a lot of great results. So here's the survey results. And how do I? Okay. All right, so let's start with the strengths. If you follow me with the slide deck, just starting with kind of a little bit of background, we had 117 responses, so about a third of the club, a little more than a third. And we had groupings for all age groups and all gender, male, basically everyone's represented here. And just want to highlight some of the good news here is that 97%, I would call that 100%, but there's always 3% that maybe is a little dissatisfied, but 97% is very satisfied with the club. I think that's outstanding. We also have 90% plus overall satisfaction with members of number of projects, 95% satisfied with program quality. And then we asked the question, how likely are you to recommend the Rotary Club of Cincinnati to a friend, family member, or colleague? And we had 8 out of 10. So that is a resounding success in my book. Now let's go on to the weaknesses. Transparency, lack thereof by the board, need to have more opportunities to recommend programming ideas, and then all members need to recruit new members. One of the items that we're doing in the future is we're going to be kind of having a breakfast or another event where we're going to talk about the board and the opportunities within the board and the presidency as well as treasurer position. And by the way, as president nominee, I have to put a plug. There's still time to nominate yourself and or someone else for the executive positions. Please fill out the application and send it to President Steve by July 1st. On another note, threats, as we all know, the meetings do get pretty tight, but also a lack of time to attend meetings in person or virtual, and the cost of meals and membership fees. But I think the board and the Rotary Club has done a great job to evaluate that for the Phoenix in the future, and we're really took that to heart. So the next one is opportunities. What do we see for the future? So 26 respondents said they were interested in attending a special breakfast about leadership opportunities in the club. We're going to be doing that. Opportunities for membership development needs to be refreshed, focused on development of future leaders, mentoring program, networking with other clubs was another suggestion. All of these are great, kind of boiled up to our opportunities for the future, and we'll be, the board and the executive team will be looking at those for the future. So overall, I would say this is a very good report. We'll be doing another survey next year as well. So we appreciate all the people that responded, and you have an opportunity for next year to respond as well. Overall, good response and great results, and the club is in a great position. So thank you for your time, and I'll hand it back to President Steve.
Eric Petway, thank you so much for spearheading that event or spearheading that effort. Wes Botto, Ed Mathis, Jeff Weir, thank you also to the 117 respondents. The board really does use the survey as a touchstone the entire year. Switching gears, I'd love to get a word from our generous meeting sponsor, Cheryl Parker and AAA.
Thank you, Steve, and good afternoon, Club 17 and special guests. I am Cheryl Parker, Director of Corporate Communications for AAA, and I must say I'm a very proud CPS parent, so I want to say a special congratulations and thank you to the honorees for your service. AAA shares your commitment to serving young people for more than 100 years. Young patrollers around the world have been adding an extra layer of security and safety in and around schools through our AAA School Safety Patrol program. Millions of boys and girls have served their schools and their classmates since the program began in 1920. And of course, as millions of Americans get ready for the Great American Road Trip this summer, AAA will continue its legendary service to AAA members, whether we're helping you map out your travel with the triptych, or servicing your vehicle before you hit the road, or providing our legendary emergency roadside assistance. Remember that your journey begins with AAA. Thank you.
Well, thank you to AAA for sponsoring this program and supporting the club. I remember in 5th grade wanting nothing more than to be that safety patrol for the week. That was like the badge of honor for my particular 5th grade class. All right, now for a new member introduction. I welcome Michael Schatzman to introduce Emil. Come on down.
Come on down. Thank you, President Steve. You're almost there, buddy. A couple more weeks. Well, hi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. There we go. Thank you. So it is with a great deal of pride and for your pleasure that I introduce Emil El Shamas. We will know him as Emil. His classification is services commercial. So what kind of commercial service does he provide? Here's a clue. Town money saver. No? How about what Emil does is direct mail? Yay, there's still a place in this world for direct mail services. We now have an expert on direct mail in our club. So if your company uses direct mail or you want to give it a try, we now have an expert for you. Emil will be an active member of the club. I know that firsthand because every time I go to a networking event on behalf of the club, I run into Emil. Last night at happy hour, I saw Emil. Last week at the coffee, I saw Emil. Today at lunch, I see Emil. So he will be active in whatever he does. He's also a director of the Milford Miami Township Chamber of Commerce. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to a new member, Emil El Shamas.
Last night at the happy hour, I got to know Emil a little bit, and you are not kidding, Michael. Emil knows all the new businesses in Cincinnati, and he sounds like a perfect fit for the neighborhood coffee and for the happy hour events, right, Emil? Look forward to serving with you. Are we up, Linda? Are you next? I think you're next. Well, it's an exciting time to give an update about Rotary Due Days 2023, Chair Linda Muth.
I'm a little shorter. So basically what we're trying to do is launch Rotary Due Days officially for our volunteers today. So how many of you in the room know what Rotary Due Days is? That's a good sign. That is really good. Based on the club survey that was done previously, members really indicated that we wanted to undertake a large-scale ongoing project for the club. An exploratory committee was formed to look at the various projects options, and Rotary Due Days was conceived last year based upon the results of that committee's findings. Susan Wilkinson and Owen Rassman chaired the inaugural event last year, which went extremely well based on the feedback from the volunteers, the ambassadors, nonprofits, and company partners. So we're going to do one better this year. So last year we completed 16 projects with 200 volunteers in one day. This year we're going big, really big. We're expanding the event to 3 days, almost 40 projects, and over 650 volunteers. Kelly Collison, Kelly Mahan, are you here? I think Kelly's here. They are my co-chairs for this year's project, and we couldn't do it without them because this is a big job this year. As you can imagine, this is obviously a huge undertaking. We have committee members, over 20 members are serving on the committee. Please stand if you are a member of the Rotary Do Days Committee. We also have 40 ambassadors to go along with these projects, and ambassadors are a huge part of the success of this program in that every project will have a Rotary member in charge of that project. And it's key because not only do they make sure that the project runs smoothly, but they also are the face of Rotary in the community. So it is very important role that we have these individuals fill on each project. So also thanks to Deanne Fleming, who is actually managing the ambassador program this year. So this is a very new, very exciting piece to the Rotary Do Days story this year. We're going to be packaging 13,000 oatmeal packets for children and adults in the community. We're going to do that as part of our Thursday luncheon this year. We'll need at least 100 volunteers to manage that project and package this up. We're partnering with the Sam Hubbard Foundation and UC's Food is Medicine program, and it will be held at the Stepping Stones Norwood campus. Okay, so how do you get 650 people to show up and go on a project, right? So these are one of the things that I sit and think about at night, and how are we going to do this? How are we going to catch people's attention? Well, Brett Labar, Owen Rassman, and Kelly Collison worked with last year's corporate partners and recruited new partners, so we now have over 17 companies participating in the event. Kelly Mahan, Jack Castile, and their committees have strategically planned our marketing efforts. They will involve you. So what's going to happen specifically is we have created or are in the process of creating specific social media posts about the project and how to sign up and to recruit those 650 members. But we're going to need you every time you see a post on Rotary Do Days on our public Facebook page to share that post. Put it on your post, on your page, so that way your friends and family know you're engaged in this project and you want them to actually sign up and volunteer as well. So another thing that we're doing is, thanks to Sarah and Ed Atchison, Ed DeVoyd, and Owen Rassman, as well as Jack Castile, we created a series of videos. And they are eye-catching and they are fun. And what we're doing with that is we are actually going to have those played on Fountain Square and in Washington Park. So we're going to give you a little taste of what these look like. Christy's going to go ahead and play couple of the videos for you.
This is Doug Bolton from the Rotary Club of Cincinnati. Rotary Do Days is a citywide initiative helping those most in need in our community. It involves almost 40 projects and nearly 500 volunteers across 3 days, October 26th, 27th, and 28th.
So,
Grab a shovel, Cincinnati.
Seguro el martillo, Cincinnati.
Grab a brush, Cincinnati.
Let's grab a rake, Cincinnati.
Click on this QR code and sign up now. I'll see you in October.
That's number one.
This is Doug Bolton from the Rotary Club of Cincinnati. Rotary Do Days is a citywide initiative helping those most in need in our community. It involves almost 40 projects and nearly 500 volunteers across 3 days, October 26th, 27th, and 28th.
So, grab a hammer, Cincinnati.
Hey, Cincinnati, grab a paintbrush.
Grab your apron, Cincinnati.
Grab a shovel, Cincinnati.
Click on this QR code and sign up now. I'll see you in October.
So they're definitely eye-catching, they're fun, and the idea behind this is to hopefully be able to recruit our 680 volunteers. So what I need you all to do is go ahead and grab your phones and scan that QR code right now. So now what that does for you, Christy's going to show you where it takes you. It takes you to our new Rotary Do Days website. And on that page, you'll see a series of projects. If you scroll down, Christy, you can see all the projects that are available for you to sign up. This is just a very small number of those projects. And as we keep adding the projects onto the website, you'll be able to actually click on those and sign up right on this website. So mark your calendars. This is really important that we get the entire club involved. It's October 26th, which will be the Rotary Luncheon. Pardon me? Yep, we can. Let's see, go back. There, does that work? Technically challenged. So this is on the Rotary page, our club website. So if you go down to the events and scroll down through the drop-down list, you'll find the Rotary Do Day page. So we'll just leave that one there for a minute, but I wanted to thank the committee in advance for their support, as well as all of you members, because this is critical to the success of the club and getting the word about who we are and what we do and what we're about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you, Kelly Collison and Kelly Mahan, for leading this effort. Just yesterday, I got a call from the president of the Wichita Club, and he was very interested in our Rotary Do Days project. So Cincinnati is leading the way for Rotary clubs around the world. A few announcements. We had birthdays to acknowledge. Shirley Love birthday was Tuesday. Carl Gruninger was Wednesday, and today's birthday, Shauna Stiver and our own Don Catchman. Don, are you here? Happy birthday, Don. Split the pot. One of the reasons you all show up every week. Split the pot. Iranetta Wright, could you pick us a winner? So today's winner is $40. And the last three digits are 589. 589 for a winner. Split the pot. Supports membership development. Jody DeVoyd, welcome back. Congratulations. Jody, you're drawing for the Queen of Hearts for $223. Well, good try, so close. The pot continues to grow. Thanks for your supporting membership development. The convertible rally is this Saturday, June 10th, starting at 11 a.m. Don't arrive at 11 a.m. Bob McElroy will leave you in the dust. He says, bring your car, your convertible. It does not have to be a convertible. Just come. There's a bunch of people signed up. I think there's room for some more. Again, they're raising money for our Rotarian friends in Ukraine. And I feel like you need to pack a picnic lunch. Bob tells me. More information, see Bob McElroy or look on DACDB. Our next neighborhood coffee is Tuesday, June 20th at Mom and M Coffee on Coleraine Avenue. Be sure to RSVP and DACDB. All right, it's time to turn to our director basket raffle. Ed, you have snuck up here behind me. Wow. So thank you. You are stealthier than you might think. So, Kelly Collison, how many tickets did you buy this time? So, if you win, it's definitely problematic. So anyone who wasn't here last week, Kelly Collison won the first raffle, and then she won the second raffle. So I was just curious how many tickets you contributed. All right, well, the directors for youth services, Ed Mathis, his committees, what was it, Interact, RILA, Youth Exchange, four-way test, speech contest. Did I miss any of them? I got them all. Well, thank you, committees, for the basket and for supporting the club budgets. All right, so, wow. Oh, that one's not going to win. Put that one back in there. All right. You want to read it off?
Yeah.
That's a tiny print. I can't read that.
All right, we get this read. For the guy that slipped me 50, I looked at it in the light. It didn't work, so I threw the ticket out. So, all right. The last four digits is 1084. 1084. Carl. Congratulations.
Thank you, committees, for all your support. Thank you, everyone who bought a raffle ticket. All right, without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Allison Kaufman, Chair of the Interact Committee, to introduce our program.
Thank you, President Steve. So typically, I do not jump at the opportunity to stand at this podium. However, when Michael Velardo asked me to fill in on his behalf for the Teacher Appreciation Luncheon, I couldn't wait to do it. In my role at Magnify Giving as Director of Programs, I have the opportunity to work with teachers on a daily basis. And many of those are CPS teachers and administrators. And with every conversation that I have with them, their passion and their desire to meet their students where they are and to develop the whole child is so clear. So I am really honored to be here today to help recognize all of you. But before I turn the program over to Superintendent Wright, I wanted to share with you the bio that they provided to us so we all can understand exactly how lucky we are to have her leadership here in Cincinnati. Superintendent Wright is the 28th Superintendent of CPS, stepping into the role in May of 2022. Superintendent Wright previously served as the Deputy Superintendent of Schools in Detroit Public Schools Community District, which serves 53,000 students and 7,200 employees. There, Superintendent Wright led turnaround initiatives for the lowest performing schools and previously oversaw the district's leadership academies for aspiring principals and assistant principals. Her achievements include recognizing and restructuring of the Exceptional Student Education Department, Athletics, and the Police Department, establishing an Office of Climate and Culture with specific focus on school support, PBIS, homelessness, and student mentoring, revising Student Code of Conduct to include restorative practices, implementing an alternative school program for high school students, establishing culture support positions at each school, including Dean of Culture, Attendance Agent, and School Culture Facilitator, assisting with the adoption of a standards aligned with K-8 curriculum, establishing art or music and physical education at each K-8 school, implementing and organizing a culture passport program which provided all K through 5th grade students at least 3 field trips to cultural locations throughout the city, establishing a leadership development program for current and aspiring leaders, a Florida native Superintendent Wright also served Duval County Public Schools for over 25 years as a teacher, assistant principal, middle and high school principal, regional superintendent, and ultimately in the role of chief of schools, serving 117,000 students and 13,000 employees. During her tenure, Superintendent Wright led the 36 lowest performing campuses in the district to be removed from state sanctions and avoid school closures. She was also the principal who turned around the state's lowest performing high school, which improved from an F to a B. Currently, Superintendent Wright serves as a trustee for the Cincinnati Art Museum and Families First Council. Superintendent Wright is an active member of Chiefs for Change, a nonprofit bipartisan network of diverse state and district education chiefs, as well as a council of the Great City Schools, where she is inspired by #SisterBrothersSups, leading some of the nation's largest urban schools. She was recognized as a City Year Champion of Education, United Negro College Fund Innovator in Education, and a Woman of Excellence by the Michigan Chronicle, named a 2023 Superintendent to Watch by K-12 Dive and National Diversity Council's 2023 Southwest Ohio Region Woman of the Year. I'm exhausted just reading this. In her own words, excellence does not just happen, it is created when we walk in purpose. So with that, let's give a warm welcome to Superintendent Wright.
It's always a wonderful thing to listen at what my team puts together for people to introduce me. So I think they're really talking about me. That's pretty cool, right? Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
One more time. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. All right. So give yourselves a round of applause for being here right now to help us recognize our Educators of the Year. One piece of information that's not included in my bio is I used to be a senior sales director with Mary Kay Cosmetics. I drove a pink car. I left teaching after 3 years to do Mary Kay full-time. And I came back to teaching. Obviously, I'm here right now. But one of the things that we learned in Mary Kay is anytime you clap, you always clap like you're clapping for yourself. So one more time, let's give yourselves a round of applause for being here to help us recognize and celebrate our educators today. Standing here right now is a bit nostalgic for me because, as you heard in the bio, I started May 2nd of 2022, so I just had my 1-year anniversary on the 2nd, and this is one of the events that I attended last year as the new superintendent, and to be back here with you this year, I'm so excited, so thank you for having me today. You know, it's a pleasure to be here. And more importantly, it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to recognize educators. This is a profession that is unbelievable and a profession that is needed so much across our country. On April 27th, I celebrated my 30th year in public education. I started when I was 12, for those that would like to know. But in a 30-year period, there are so many things that have changed, but there are so many things that have remained the same. And one of the things that's remained the same is educators and their passion for the work that they do every day. One of the things that we've learned through the COVID era, and the COVID years feel like dog years when you think about it as an educator. But one of the things that we learned through that time is, as educators, we do this work because we choose to, not because we have to. The country found out the quality of education. The country found out the things that happen and cannot happen when schools don't get support. The country found those things out. So as I stand today, I stand here proudly as your superintendent, but more importantly, when I came last year, it was around the same exact time, and at that time I had already visited 50 schools by the end of May. and visited the rest of the schools by the end of June. And that process started over this year because life for me happens in schools. I am a teacher first, and I'm a principal second. And as a superintendent, the work for me is in a school building. So I start every day, and my team can share that with you. I start every day in schools. One of the most rewarding things for me this year was at the very, very end of the year, and it has been a very interesting year. It's been an amazing year. It's been an exciting year, but it's been a year of change, and it's been a year of growth, and it's been a year of people getting to know a person that has been the first person hired outside of Cincinnati Public Schools in almost 20 years. The other superintendents that have led Cincinnati Public Schools were employees and even products as students of Cincinnati Public Schools. And then there's me. And then there's me. And so you can clap for that if you like. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But one of the things that was the most rewarding for me is we recognize our educators. And this year, we did that in a very, very grand way through the support of Western and Southern. And I had the opportunity to go to 5 classrooms and surprise 5 educators because they had been identified as our top 5 finalists for the Educator of the Year award for Cincinnati Public Schools. And sitting with us today are 3 of those educators. So not only are we talking about the creme de la creme for today, but we are talking about some of the top educators that Cincinnati Public Schools has to offer. So let's give them a round. So I am going to start, and I've been given my direction, and so we will make sure that we move this smoothly, but we do want to give the educators just an opportunity to say a couple of words after I introduce them. Is that fair? All right, and we'll stay on time. So our first recognition is a recognition of community service. This educator has over 20 years of service as a teacher. Based on multiple nominations, many examples describe how the teacher helps students cope with barriers and challenges at home while making sure students feel safe in a fun learning environment. An exceptional advocate for her students, this educator coordinated transportation for a student with special needs and serves on a foundation to raise funds to help students attend field trips, purchase supplies, and fund college scholarships. In addition, this math teacher, and I was a math teacher as well, consistently raises student achievement and is a true member of her school community. I had the privilege of visiting her class, and I visited her class actually more than once, but as I walked into her classroom, I asked her students, is this teacher an amazing teacher? And they gave a resounding yes. And at this time, I would like to recognize Robin Day, a teacher from Winton Hills Academy, for the Community Service Award. Ms. Day.
Thank you. I'm truly honored to receive this award. And like Superintendent Wright said, I've been teaching at the same school for over 20 years, and I'm very proud to say that next year my daughter will be joining me at the school, and she'll be teaching alongside of me, so I'm very proud of that.
Okay, our next, let's give Ms. Day one more round of applause. Our next recognition is for Innovator of the Year. This educator has over 28 years of service as a teacher. He is a pro's pro and can be seen working in the very same industry that he teaches on a daily basis. Some of his coworkers have joined CPS as a direct result of seeing his passion in action. As an artist and a well-known member of the performing arts production industry, he breathes innovation into his daily lessons with students with the single focus of helping them find their passion. He trains students on how to design and build props, prepare staging, learn the technical aspects of putting on productions of all kinds, from musical theater, operas, and concerts to symphonies. He is dedicated to his craft. He has led the instructional learning team, developed curriculum, written textbooks, and works tirelessly to make sure his students graduate with a plan that may include working in the arts. I also had an opportunity to visit his classroom, and it's a little more unique because his classroom was on the stage at the time because they were in the middle of a technical theater class. And as I entered, it's always a little different when you're working with the high school students, and I was a high school teacher as well. And so I walked in, and there was a group with us, and they don't get too surprised to see me because I go to classes a lot. But when we saw the group, he knew that something was happening. And so he took over the class at the time, and I was able to share with his students that he was one of the finalists for the Teacher of the Year. And immediately his students went into a round of applause, high school students saying, "He is the best. And regardless of the decision, he is our Teacher of the Year." So at this time, I would like to bring to you as Innovator of the Year, Mr. Gerard. And he is a teacher at the School of Creative and Performing Arts. One more time.
I said this is the 4th time I've gotten a hug from this lady already. I think it's pretty cool. Thank you. First of all, thank you. I'm honored, and it's just unique to be here, and I thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Innovator of the Year, as she explained, I teach set design. I teach 7th through 12th graders every day how to measure, how to create, how to design. I have 18 students coming in over the summer that have volunteered to come in for Summer Scholar. There's a lot of students that are coming in to, retain, pick up classes they didn't pass. My students are coming in because they love to be a part of it. They love the arts. They love to experience it. I am so fortunate to be an educator. Educators are changing the world, and more importantly, we're making such a difference. I was telling Steve just a minute ago, I have a student that was student aid for me in the second bell class this year, and she was all set to go to CCM. She knew she wanted to go there. She wanted to go to technical theater, and I loved it. And then about halfway through the year in maybe November, December, she came to me and she said, "Are you gonna be mad if I change majors?" And I said, "Of course not. What do you wanna do?" And she goes, "I wanna become a teacher." And she said, "I've enjoyed being a part of your class so much, helping with the other students. I believe I can do this." And for me, it's about the process, it's about the procedures, it's about discipline, showing up on time, following a schedule. These students are battling so much, that we talked about COVID and coming out of COVID, but their mental, their health, their families, everything is tying into their reaction of who they are, and they're still showing up each and every day, and they're still being a part of the process. And to me, I'm the one that's learning, I'm the one that's growing, I'm the one that's being educated each day by my students, and that's what makes me thrive to be a better teacher, to be a part of their lives, and to help support them. And I know that there's several of us that are receiving awards today, but really this award is not for me, it's not for the other teachers that are here today, it's for all the teachers that work every day, that don't get recognized, that are never gonna get rich. They're doing it because they love it, and they care about kids, and that's the most important thing. So I thank you for allowing me to be here today, but I am so appreciative of knowing that we're making a difference in lives, and that's what's so important. So thank you.
Okay, our next recognition is for the Teacher of the Year for this year. This educator has over 26 years of service as a teacher. This teacher is an outstanding educator who instills in children a love for learning and a desire to achieve. She creates a positive and inclusive classroom environment where students feel valued and respected. High expectations for student achievement and her belief in every student's potential and worth serve as a driving force for student success. Her students serve as Eagle Buddies, where they lead a class of first through third graders in reading and math activities and learn alongside their younger peers. Her trademarks are the significant growth and proficiency exhibited by her students each year. Former students regularly visit and write letters thanking her for helping them gain confidence and academic success beyond the time in her classroom. She lives her life by two South African virtues, Sawubona means I see you, and Ubuntu, which means I am because of you. She believes that she is called to be a steward to those who will inherit the earth. I had an opportunity to visit her class. Her students were not in her class, but she was in her class preparing for her students. At this time, I recognize Traci Cummings, a teacher from Sands Montessori School, as the Teacher of the Year.
Thank you, Superintendent Wright and the Rotary Club 17 for this privilege and honor. I could sit here and listen to the story all day, and I just want to share or expound on the two things that were shared about me. I was thinking about the statement about what COVID taught us, and that was a really, really difficult experience for us as educators. I remember being exhausted, emotionally, physically, mentally drained. And I remember working harder than I've ever worked. Longer days, using more energy to figure out how to bring the curriculum to life through a computer screen. And I am passionate about community service as well, so the proper pronunciation of the first term is Sawubona. Can you say that? So Sawubona is a South African term, and I learned it on my first mission trip to South Africa, where we partnered with large organizations and just got under them and did whatever they needed us to do. And I remember going to an informal settlement where the village consisted of 100 families, no running water, no electricity, minimal provisions, but there was such a pride in the eyes of the children when I bent down to introduce myself, and they gave me their English name, and then they gave me their African name, and they could speak 5 languages. And I thought, wow, here I am, looking at the outward appearance and feeling sorry, but the pride and the excellence by which they operated made me interrogate my own practices and my own beliefs. And I'm bringing that back to what COVID showed us. I'm excited about the re-entry. I'm excited that we are moving forward, but I think we've missed the opportunity to bring the balance between what teachers pour out and what they receive. I don't judge my effort on the response, but I will say, if we want to see a paradigm shift, we have to be the change agents collectively to bring that about. And I think one way to do that is to start seeing a little bit more clearly what it's going to require to sustain the kind of 21st century learners that we need to move forward. So, Sawabona, thank you. And Ubuntu means I am because you are. And I feel that way about CPS. I'll be entering my 28th year, and it has been a privilege to serve such an innovative organization. CPS doesn't always get the recognition that it deserves, but it is on the cutting edge in many, many ways, and I feel privileged and honored to be part of it. So thank you again for this opportunity.
I think another one of the really rewarding things for me is it's always exciting to celebrate educators. It's even more exciting to celebrate educators when you know who they are. And these individuals here today truly, truly represent some of the best in education, not just in CPS, but in this country. So let's give them one more round of applause. We often talk about teaching as being a thankless job, and that essentially means that what the thank yous, the recognition, the collective support that teachers deserve, rarely do they receive that. Being the superintendent is equally a thankless job. I often share that every day the goal is to tick fewer people off today than you did yesterday. Because regardless of the decision that you make, somebody is not going to like it. So you have to make sure that you make a decision that is in the best interest of children and keep your eye on the prize for what's best for kids. Block out the noise, stay focused, because when kids win, we all win, right? Along with the thankless job of the superintendent is also the thankless job of the principal. Because when things go really well, the principal does not get enough credit. And when things go really poorly, the principal gets too much credit. So today, we have an opportunity to recognize one of our administrators who is being recognized today as the Administrator of the Year. This educator has over 30 years of service as a teacher and principal and is also a CPS alum. This principal has served her school and community well for a long time. Her students demonstrate consistent proficiency, growth, and overall improvement. She is a credentialed turnaround specialist from one of the nation's most renowned programs, the University of Virginia's Partnership for Leadership in Education. She is a mentor and an exceptional leader. One of the things that I've learned about this principal is her question is not what, her question is how do we get it done? Her response is, I saw this, I heard the feedback, we made it happen, we can do this. And so without delay, I would like to personally recognize as the Administrator of the Year, Principal Vicki Graves Hill. And she is the principal of Roll Hill School. She's the principal of Roll Hill School.
All right, thank you very much. I too am honored to be here. Thank you to the Rotary Club for honoring me and other members of Cincinnati Public Schools. Thank you, Superintendent Wright. It had to be a hard job to choose me because there are so many administrators that are working just as hard as I am, if not harder than I am. But I truly appreciate you selecting me. I was listening to your bio, and one thing that they said in your bio was that you turned a district around from an F to a B, and that is great. And I'm just thinking, you know,
we're going to do it again in Cincinnati Public Schools under her leadership, and just doing everything possible that we can, and we put our children first. That's what we've been doing for years, and thank you for honoring me and letting me know that the choices that I've been making are for children, and they seem to have been the right choices, so thank you so much.
Let's have another round of applause for all our award recipients. I just love this meeting. It's so inspiring. You know, the educators are, well, they're guiding the future, and we depend on you, and we are so appreciative of the opportunity to recognize your excellence and feel just a little bit of the passion that you have for changing setting the course for the future with our children. Superintendent Wright, we only have a couple minutes left. Would you like to take a couple questions? You know, I'd love the opportunity to just at least give you a few minutes of the time we have left if you wanted to take it. We've got an educator in the back who has raised his hand very quickly. Mr. Shula.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
You want me to call questions, or you want to do?
Actually,
Okay. Yes.
You get to call questions.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to say this without tears, because the passion that I have for kids is one that I can talk about for a long time. You know, the reference earlier was to a school as a high school principal over 10 years ago that I was able to turn around with the team from an F to a B, and that school is still sustaining. That school was everything that you could think about when you think of a challenged environment. And what is so important to me is it is not about where students are or where they come from. It is about what they know and what we know can happen for them. Every child has a spark in them, and it is a matter of getting the right educator in front of them, giving them the right circumstances, giving them the right situations and the correct experiences so that that spark can be ignited. I am not one of those that believes that there are a certain population of kids that can learn, because my experiences have shown me differently. My experiences have allowed me to work with students in very challenged environments and change the trajectory for them, while also looking at students that were very high performing and giving them experiences that maybe they did not have before. So what excites me about it is the reason that I go to schools every day. What excites me is just being in the classroom, having conversation with them, listening to the questions that they ask, and knowing it's never about where you start, it's always about where you finish. And the success for me is improved outcomes for children. If we don't get there, I'm not successful. The children, it is my responsibility to be the objective voice for all of the children that we serve, regardless to where they come from. So that's my response.
Thank you so much. I think we're going to have to wrap it up. I'm sorry. Thanks for being flexible, Superintendent Wright. I'm sorry. I've got to keep this show on the road. I'm terribly sorry, but thank you so much for making this a priority and inviting your honored guests and honored educators. Clearly, CPS has a heart to serve our community. Here at the Rotary Club, our motto is service above self. And as a token of our appreciation for today, we wanted to give you a Rotary Club of Cincinnati coin. And on back of that is that 4-way test. It's our ethical standard by which we live at that motto of service above self. And in addition, we'd like to make a donation to Cincinnati Public Schools so you can further your efforts to serve your staff and to serve your students. Let's honor the teachers one more time with a round of applause. There's just one meeting today. It's the committee chairs. The meeting is here in the Hall of Mirrors. Next week, it's the corporate member roundtable, cybersecurity, how safe are we? We are back here at the Hall of Mirrors. Until then, make it a great week. Meeting adjourned.